What's up, fight fans, and welcome back to another KJ MMA show. I am Ryan. He is Garrett, and this Saturday from the UFC Apex is UFC Vegas 58. And Garrett, this really is a banger of a card. I mean, when you look at this main event, Rafael dos Anjos versus Rafael Fiziev, man, that is a lightweight fight that just gets me so excited. How do you feel about it?
Oh, I'm looking forward to it. It's Fiziev's best opponent yet, his most dangerous opponent. RDA is looking great. He's come back to 155, gone 2-0. He's looked super dominant, and I'm looking forward to this fight. I think it's going to be a great fight, start to finish, fireworks from the get-go.
All right, so RDA is a plus 180 dog. Fiziev is a minus 210 favorite. Man, you know what? I was thinking about this earlier today. I was looking at his opponents. You can make an argument that this guy has the best strength of schedule, pound for pound, in the UFC maybe right now. Just if you look at the guys that he's fought, Cerrone, Felder, Chiesa, Leon Edwards, Kevin Lee, Kamaru Usman, Colby Covington, Lawler, Magny, Safadine, Tony Ferguson, Eddie Alvarez, Pettis, Diaz, Benson Henderson. It just goes on and on and on. Like Habib, this guy has been in there with the best of the best. And although he's 37 years old, like you said, he's still looking sharp. He's still looking like he has something significant to give. But this is a legit test. Fiziev is a monster, and rightfully so. He's the favorite here. Do you think RDA has enough tricks left in his bag to pull one out here and get the win? Or do you feel at this point in his career that Fiziev is just going to be too tough for him?
I don't know, man. I mean, granted, this line I think is a little steep for Fiziev. I think it should be the favorite because he's got a ton of hype. He's one of the best prospects at 155 pounds, so he deserves to be the favorite. But maybe minus 160, minus 175. I mean, this is a pretty massive step up in competition. He's also never gone 25 minutes. Dos Anjos has gone 25 minutes numerous times. Dos Anjos is also extremely durable. He hasn't been knocked out since 2009 against Eddie Alvarez. And I mean, he can go a hard 25 minutes. You saw what he did against Moicano in his last fight. He beat him to a bloody pulp. And we know RDA has got Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt. He's got really great wrestling, so he's going to test Fiziev on the ground. He's going to get him to the ground. He's going to test him there. And we've seen Fiziev tend to fade in the third round. We saw it in the Bobby Green fight. Granted, he didn't fade against Riddell, but I feel like that was a much slower pace where Bobby Green was actually putting the pace, putting the pressure on him. He was slowing down in that third round. So if RDA makes him work and makes him use a lot of his energy, I could see him starting to fade in rounds 4 and rounds 5 where RDA can possibly take over and win the fight. I think there's a lot of value in RDA. Could I see him getting starched early? Yeah, but I'm banking on him being still durable, being able to put the pace and put the pressure on, and possibly get a decision victory, a close fight, another close decision in a main event. We know how that works. Once you get to a decision in the main event, you can call it as 50-50 as you want, as long as you're not, Israel Adesanya or Alexander Volkanovski fighting there. So I like RDA. I like him by decision at plus 380, and I think got a lot of value there.
Yeah, I think I agree with you here. I mean, I think Fiziev is legit. He's someone that's going to be around for a while. He's a legit contender. But I mean, if you just look at who he's fought compared to who RDA's fought, there's just not a comparison. RDA's been in there with just absolute savages, and Fiziev, he's fought some good guys, but the competition level is just not even close to what RDA has faced. So I feel like this should be way closer than a plus 180 underdog for RDA. I think I'm with you here. I wouldn't be surprised if Fiziev is that good and he does get the win, but I kind of like the underdog here with that plus money for the veteran RDA. Let's move to the co-main event. Interesting middleweight bout. Armin Petrosyan, Chao Barajo. Petrosyan's a plus 190 dog. Braho is a minus 225 favorite. Do you think that line looks accurate, Garrett?
Absolutely. I'm all over Barajo I got him at minus 180 actually much earlier in the week. I'm very confident in his abilities. His striking, he reminds me of what Damian Ma would look like if he had striking and wrestling. Put it that way, because this kid is a human backpack. He gets your back, he's staying there for the rest of the round. He's not giving it up, no matter what you do. I think his grappling is levels above Petrosyan. And granted, Petrosyan is tough. He's extremely durable. He's got great kickboxing, but we've seen him get taken down in both of his fights with the promotion on the Contender Series in his UFC debut against Gregory Rodriguez. And we've seen him make some bad mistakes immediately as soon as he gets taken down. Rodriguez gets into mounts, then he gives up his back. You're not going to give up your back and, not get choked out against Barajo. So I'm going to go with Kai Barajo here. I think he's the rightful favorite, and I'm pretty confident in his abilities. Plus, the UFC wants this man to win. You don't give a guy that's only 2 fights into the UFC 2 co-main event spots. There's something they like in him, so I'm riding the hot wave.
Yeah, and Braho, he had that UD win over Aaron Jeffrey at Contender Series, and I'm pretty high on Aaron Jeffrey. He's now in Bellator. He had a big win. I think he's someone that legitimately could be in the UFC. So that was a huge feather in his cap to get that win, and it showed me a lot to beat a tough guy like that via UD. So I'm with you there. I think the UFC wants to see this kid keep plugging away and getting wins. We'll move to 135. Syed Nurmagomedov versus Douglas Silva de Andrade. Nurmagomedov is a minus 320 favorite against De Andrade, who's a plus 265 dog. I mean, I think this line is fairly accurate just looking at it. Nurmagomedov, when you have that last name, what more can you really say? I do expect him to, if he doesn't get the finish, I think you're going to look at a dominant UD performance. What do you think, Garrett?
I agree. I like Nurmagomedov here. He's looked really good, especially in his last 2 fights. He club and sub against Stamen, and then he knocked down Mark Striegel. He's got some insane power, and I don't think De Andrade is his best opponent that he's faced. I feel like this is a step down from Stamen and Jaime Barcelos and Ricardo Ramos. So yeah, I like Saeed here. I expect him to have his way with him in the striking and eventually clip him and maybe get a club and sub again, or potentially just finish it with a knockout.
Yeah, I'm with you there. We'll move to the big boys, heavyweight, and be careful here because I don't know if you know this, but I like Jared Bandera just a little bit. And look, forget about. I don't think he's going to ever be the UFC heavyweight champion. That's safe to say. And if you happen to be watching this, Jared, next time I interview you, don't hit me. But he's someone that is clearly a legit heavyweight. He's a big guy. He has to cut to 265. He's just the nicest guy. It's hard not to root for him. And Chase Sherman, they both have, I guess, semi-similar records, but I just don't know that Chase Sherman has enough to beat Bandera. Bandera is the minus 195, minus 200 favorite. Chase Sherman plus 165 dog. Please tell me you see Bandera winning this because I'm going to be disappointed if my guy doesn't get it done.
I mean, I have him winning. I feel like he should win. He should be able. Actually, I think he has a big grappling advantage. I've seen him been doing a ton of grappling tournaments in that. He's actually learning a scarfold choke. Who knows? He might pull it out of his little bag of tricks there. And he's super tough. He's super durable. I think he could get it done. But would I bet him at minus 200? No. Because this is, low level heavyweight fight. Anything could possibly happen. Someone can slip on banana peel, and then there she goes. So I'd rather stay clear of this fight and not bet at all. But I like Bandera. I want him to win, and on paper he should win this fight.
Mm-hmm. I do my best to stay objective, covering the sport. And I think for the most part I do, but every once in a while there's someone like a Jared Bandera or a Tony Gravely that, you get to know them, you get to talking to them, and you just can't help but root for them. So that's kind of where I'm at with this one. And I've never spoken to Chase Sherman. He might be the nicest guy on planet Earth, but I got to go with the mountain Bandera here for the win. But I'm not mad at you for saying you want to stay away from this from a betting perspective. Let's move to the females. Cynthia Calvillo, Nina Nunes. Cynthia at minus 150 favorite, Nunes plus 130 dog. How do you see this one going, Jared?
Oh, man.
I just called you Jared.
No
worries. Bandera too much.
No worries. But as far as this fight goes, man, I don't know. I don't know what we're gonna get from, either one of them. They're, Nina Nunes, she's coming up to flyweight 125. Cavilla's looked, her worst as of late. And we know that Cavia has a distinct grappling edge in this fight, as we saw Nina Nunes gets taken down by, Mackenzie Dern, which is atrocious, in its own right. But Cavia just doesn't go for takedowns, at all. She's only attempted, I think, 4 takedowns in the last 3 fights. And she only attempted 1 takedown against Caitlin Chikagian, where, that's her biggest advantage. And she only attempted 1 takedown. So going into this fight, Cavia has such a massive advantage in the grappling, but you're hoping and praying that she actually uses it. Kind of like Sean Strickland against Alex Pereira. I knew he was not going to shoot for a takedown. So that's why I was all over Pereira to win that fight. And then here we are in this one. I think Nunes can take this fight on the feet if Cavia just doesn't go for takedowns. So we'll see. I personally, if I had a bet, I'd probably take Nunes because it's a dog price and it's women's MMA. I think you're safer taking a dog than on the favorite in basically a 50-50 fight.
Yeah, I'm with you there. And not to get off track, but man, oh man, Sean Strickland has to be kicking himself for not fighting the smart fight. Stop trying to test yourself against someone that's a world-class striker. It's mixed martial arts for a reason. He's thinking back and kicking himself, but you called it, Garrett. All right, 155, the lightweight division, maybe the deepest division in the UFC. Jamie Malarkey against Michael Johnson. Michael Johnson, a plus 195 dog. Jamie Malarkey, minus 230 favorite. I really don't see any way that Jamie Malarkey doesn't win this fight. If he does lose this fight, that is not good for his career. Michael Johnson is older. He's been in a lot of wars. I'm huge on Jamie Malarkey here. I think he gets the job done. How do you feel about it?
I don't know, man. This could be a tough fight. Malarkey's gonna have to fight fire with fire, and Michael Johnson's got some heavy hands still at 36, 37 years old. That dude can definitely scrap. He's got some power. He can knock you out. I think the only person that knocked him out was Josh Emmett. It was the last time, and the power that Emmett has. And mind you, Johnson was winning that entire fight until he got knocked out. So, it's tough to gauge. I would never take Malarkey at minus 230, minus 240. That's a little absurd. I like the under 2.5 rounds at minus 160 because one of these guys, I feel, it's got to get finished because they're going to come out fighting with fire. They're not going to go for takedowns. They're going to stand there and bang it out, and one of them is going down. Johnson got clipped in his last fight against Alan Patrick. And then Jamie Malarkey just got knocked out as well against Jalen Turner, I believe. So I think one of these guys is going down. I'm not sure who it is. So I'd rather play it safe, take the under 2.5 rounds, minus 160. But if I had to play a side and Michael Johnson's plus 200 or better, I'd probably side with him.
Okay. Well, Michael Johnson, we've seen in the past, he does have some heavy hands. So I guess you never really know. One shot could put anyone's lights out. It is mixed martial arts. So we've seen some crazy things in this sport. And just to clarify, we did talk about this before. Alan Patrick. It is Alan Patrick. It's not Alan Patrick. We do know this, right?
We do know this. This is confirmed. It's Alan Patrick.
Okay, wow, it just seems like Alan Patrick would make sense, but okay, Alan Patrick.
Well, he's from Brazil. What do you
okay,
expect?
Gotcha. All right, Ricky Tercios, minus 190 favorite against Ayman Zahabi. I don't know if he's related to Faraz, but if he is,
that's his brother.
Okay,
that's his brother.
Very cool. I mean, GSP, all-time favorite fighter for me right there. So I got to meet Faraz. Very, very nice guy. Ricky Tercios is a bad boy, though. Minus 190 favorite. Zahabi's a plus 160 dog. I don't know as much about Ayman Zahabi. So does he have a chance, Garrett, to get in there and spring the upset against the Ultimate Fighter winner?
He does, but ultimately, I think Tercios is just gonna be too much for him. Zahabi showed, he's good. I mean, he's well-rounded. He got a knockout in his last fight, coming off a long layoff and two losses. He knocked out Draco Rodriguez. Looked very impressive. But I think Tercios is durable enough to not get knocked out by Zahabi. Zahabi doesn't have a ton of knockouts in his career. And I don't think his grappling is going to be enough to exploit the weakness of Tercios' takedown defense. And Tercios has fought some legit competition to get to where he's at now. All three fighters that he's faced on Ultimate Fighter are in the UFC currently, and two of them have already fought before him, and here we are. Tercios is now just making his UFC debut. So he's fought legit competition. I think he's beaten better competition than Zahabi as well. He's going to be too much on the feet. He's very unorthodox, and he's just going to throw a ton of strikes that Zahabi's not going to be ready for. And the only way Zahabi wins this is a lot of cage control, clinch work, and just keeping Tercios kind of corralled, because at distance, Tercios wins this rather easily.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Tercios. I enjoyed watching him on The Ultimate Fighter, and I think he's got a really, really bright future. So I'm with you there. I feel like Tercios is a favorite for a reason, and we're going to see a dynamic striking style from Tercios here in this bantamweight bout. All right, Antonina Shevchenko minus 170 against Courtney Casey plus 145. I just kind of feel like Antonina Shevchenko should be able to get the better of Courtney Casey. I mean, Courtney Casey's 10-9. I mean, granted, she's a good fighter, but I just don't know that she's on Antonina Shevchenko's level. Are you with me on this one?
Yeah, I agree. But am I going to be surprised if somehow Courtney Casey wins this fight by decision in a very awkward, sloppy, horrible fight? No. It's not a fight I really want to bet on, but on paper, Shevchenko should walk away with this. Like, walk away with it. So if you want to side, I would definitely side with Shevchenko. But this is women's MMA. Anything could happen. The judges, we've seen, Jin Yu Fry win all 3 rounds and somehow lose all 3 rounds in that fight. So anything could possibly happen on the judges' scorecard. So that's why I'm playing it safe. And I took the fight goes the distance at minus 180 earlier in the week. I expect these two to be durable enough on the feet because Courtney Casey doesn't really get knocked out. And I don't feel like anyone's going to grapple. So we're going to have a nice kickboxing fight and go back and forth until someone wants a decision, and I'll catch that.
All right. We're getting into some really interesting prelim action with these next 3 fights in particular. I'm excited. I'm so excited for this middleweight bout. Cody Brundage, Tresean Gore. Talk about another guy that is just a good human being, Cody Brundage. Plus 125 dog against Tresean Gore, a minus 145 favorite. And man, we saw Gore his last time out against Brian Battle. That dude can sling him. He gets in there and he just looks to take your head off. And Cody Brundage, out of Factory X, he's got a bunch of killers around him, high level wrestler. And I feel like he's getting better and better. He's getting more well-rounded. We saw in his last win, he weathered a big storm, ultimately gets the job done in the very first round. Can he do it again? And I'm not so sure I agree with this line. I mean, Tresean Gore's 3-1. It's not like he's got a ton of experience here. Do you agree with this line? And just ultimately, how do you see this one playing out, Garrett?
I have Cody Brundage win this fight. I like him as an underdog. I let people keep betting Tresean Gore. I've never been high on Gore all throughout the season. I bet on Battle over him as well. He's a low volume striker. He doesn't like to name himself as a striker. He's talking about how he wants to be labeled as a mixed martial artist. He wants to show more that he can grapple and this and that. I'm like, this all points towards Brundage winning this fight because he thinks he even says he welcomes the grappling with Brundage just to show that he is a mixed martial artist and not just a striker. Well, that works for Brundage because Brundage is going to do that. He's going to take you there and test you in your grappling. So we'll see who's the better grappler. And that's exactly what I want. I want Brundage to wear on him because he's got a gas tank to go 15 minutes with anybody. And the more they fight in the clinch, the more Gore is going to get tired. And the more they fight in the clinch, the more that Brundage isn't going to take that much damage. So I think Brundage just puts the pace, puts the pressure on him, wears him down, eventually gets the rear naked choke in the second round.
Yeah, this really is a case where Brundage has to turn this into a grappling wrestling battle. He's going to be in big trouble if Gore stuffs takedowns and keeps this on the feet because Gore has got some major power and he can put the lights out on anybody. So it's going to be really crucial to see what happens early on in this fight for Cody Brundage to be able to get this at least pressed up against the fence to make Gore work and then ultimately get the takedown. But I do agree with you. I feel like that's what will happen eventually, and I do see Brundage either getting a submission or a decision victory here. Another interesting bout, Carl Robertson, Kennedy Nzechukwu. Kennedy is a minus 140 favorite. Robertson's a plus 120 dog. And both of these guys are very well-rounded. Robertson's been around for a while. He's been in there with some legit fighters. He's a small dog here. Do you feel like he can get the win, or do you feel like this is, Kennedy's just going to be a little bit too big, too strong for him?
I don't know. It's a tough fight. They're both extremely skilled. They're both great strikers, but Kennedy's huge. That man is ginormous compared to Robertson. I mean, this man's got 4 or 5 inches of height, and he's got about 9 inches of reach.
Yeah.
So It's gonna be tough for Robinson. I think Robinson's gonna be, kicking those legs as much as he can, stop the movement, hinder, that size, maybe chop the tree down. It's just tough for me to see that he's gonna do more than just those leg kicks. I don't think he's gonna be able to touch him, at his head. He's gonna have a lot of problems, and I think, Kennedy's gonna be able to keep his distance well, use his reach, use his legs, preferably the front kick, and that's gonna bode well for him. And I'll take him to win by knockout. Maybe inside 2 rounds, because I feel like he's got power, and Robinson's gonna keep eating when he's trying to come in range.
Mm. And when I first saw this fight announced, I thought to myself, Kennedy's at 205. I just
I
feel just
know.
looking at the guy, he should be a heavyweight. So I'm with you on this one. I can't believe that he can actually make 205. It actually makes me feel bad about my physique, because I'm right about that same weight right now, and we look very, very different as far as height and reach goes. But I'll digress. But yeah, I'm with you there. Kennedy, I feel like gets the job done here. It's just the size factors is going to play a difference. Garrett Armfield is stepping in on short notice. He gets his first UFC fight, his UFC debut, and he's a massive underdog, plus 480 against David Onamo, who's a minus 645 favorite. And Garrett Armfield, I've interviewed him before. He trains at a Stanford MMA, one of the best gyms on planet Earth, and he's got a ton of killers around him. You know that he's been getting the looks in camp to put him in this position to not, I guess, get overwhelmed. But we've seen what David Onama can do. He's a very dynamic striker. He's got a lot of power. He's dangerous. Trains at a Glory MMA. Is this a case where Garrett's just biting off a little bit more than he can chew here in this debut, or do you feel like he has a shot to actually shock people and get a win?
I don't think Onama's going to run away with it like people think. Like the line suggests that he's just going to come in there and absolutely start him within a couple seconds. I just don't see it, considering both of them are very familiar with each other as they fought as amateurs way back in the day. I think Onama was 9-0 and Armfield was 6-0 at the time, and that went to a decision. And Armfield's never been knocked out as an amateur or a pro. He's got some durability, and I think he's going to put up a fight. I think he's going to put up a good fight. It's going to be a back and forth battle. Unfortunately, I do think he loses, but I feel like his stock is only going to rise from here. I think he's going to put on a good fight. It's going to be an entertaining fight. And I've watched Armfield fight. He's good on his feet. He's light on his feet. He's got some good grappling skills as well. I just think Onama's just going to be a little too big for him because Armfield is normally a bantamweight. So we'll see how it happens, but I think it's going to be a good competitive fight. Ultimately, I think Onama just kind of wears him down and gets the decision.
I'm just happy that Garrett Armfield is getting this opportunity. He's a good kid. He's young. He's got a bright future. So this would be massive for him if he can get his first debut fight in the UFC and get a big win and spring an upset here against David Onama. All right, one more fight to go. Ronnie Lawrence, a minus 140 favorite against Cockromanov, who's a plus 120 dog. We know what Ronnie Lawrence wants to do. He wants to get this to the ground. He wants to utilize his wrestling, get in top control, and just dominate the fight that way. Is this a case where that's what we're going to see, or is Cockromanov going to be able to maybe keep this on the feet and get a win that way?
I don't know. There's something in me that like wants to bet Ronnie, but has a weird feeling that Cockromanov catches him in something. Because Cockromanov is dangerous. That man can knock you out, or he can snatch your neck and choke you out. So he's very dangerous no matter where it goes. We saw Ronnie Lawrence get cracked in the third round of his last fight, so he's vulnerable on the feet. I don't know, man. I have this feeling that Cockromanov finishes Lawrence and gets a really big win. And I feel like he gets it done inside the distance. And right now it's at plus 275 for him to win inside the distance. I really do think he gets the finish here. I don't know. It's just a hunch, but I just feel like he's dynamic on the feet. He's got power. He's got some good movement. Ronnie's going to come in. And I feel like he's going to get countered. And then, he's going to shoot for a takedown and get caught in like a guillotine or maybe a Darce choke or something like that. That's how I kind of feel it's going to happen.
All right. Before we sign off, Garrett, give us a parlay, something you like for this UFC Vegas 58 card.
All right, let's put something juicy together, okay? Because we're not gonna do a little parlay, okay? So let's make it juicy. Let's go with Cockromanov plus 115. Let's take Cody Brundage at plus 125. And then let's end it with just a lock. One of my locks, which is Kai Barajo minus 225. That gives you plus 599. Almost 6-1 odds.
Okay, I like it. I'm actually doing that on DraftKings right now. So if you're watching out there, if you're watching this video, maybe you should take Garrett's advice. The fight analyst, he's right way more often than he's wrong, and maybe you can make yourself some money on another exciting UFC card. Again, it goes down this Saturday from the Apex UFC Vegas 58, and it's headlined by Rafael dos Anjos versus Rafael Fiziev, and that's going to do it for us today. Another fun show with my man Garrett Kerman. Make sure you subscribe to the Vegas Odds YouTube channel, and we will see you guys next week.